And if you notice, because I pay attention to these things, we have all kinds of confidence boosting programs for women, or women's empowerment, or helping women overcome imposter syndrome, all of these different things, but you never see that for men. There's no empowerment seminar for men because men are already empowered. They don't necessarily have to find the confidence from deep down inside the way we do. So where does confidence come from? You've mentioned that it's internal. Where does it come from? How do we get confident?
Again, internal. You have to find whatever your process is. Now, for me, I'll just speak for my confidence. I mean, for how I built my confidence. A lot of my confidence came from trauma and having to heal over and over and over again. And so it took where I was like, okay, as much as I love on other people, because God gave me the gift of love, right? Instead of putting all of that into other people, I took time, and you will over and over and over again take time for you to put that into yourself. If you don't put it into yourself, then we as women, I'll say this. We as women, we tend to do or everything and everybody to our children, our families, our jobs, our communities, our churches, et cetera, et cetera. And then we tend to give ourselves what's left over. And that may be little to nothing. So we're finding ourselves being depleted. Well, the same way that you put into your mental health and your physical health, that's also pouring into, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if your confidence cup is empty, you're not going to be able to operate in that as well.
So it sounds like, some people would have the question maybe of, are you born with confidence, or is it something that you have to develop? It sounds definitely like it's something you have to develop. And I would say that it probably starts very early on, as infants, depending upon the environment that you grow up in, you might have confidence instilled within you, but as you get older and mature and you go through different experiences, that's what might shape the difference. Because you talked about the fact that yours came from trauma, and I would imagine that a lot of people, it comes from some traumatic experience, and that can be something that's confidence building, or it can be something that depletes your confidence. It just depends on your mindset and whether you're going to allow it to make you stronger, or if you're going to give into it. And I do think that in our environments and in our support networks, those are some of the things that make the difference, because two people can go through the exact same experience and come out of it very different when it comes to how confident they feel. So thinking about that, how do our childhood experiences affect confidence? You can go back to what you're saying about trauma, and you don't have to be specific in your situation, but how can somebody, if they have a childhood experience, whether it's positive or negative, how do we use that to shape our level of confidence?
Oh, that's a weighted question because it's multifaceted, right? First things first, I'm going to always say go inwardly. We all, as women and men, we have this thing where I call it the inner voice. You can sit down and be quiet for yourself, not even think about what needs to be done, what hasn't been done, what was your fault, what wasn't your fault, what you got to get over, what you don't have to get over, what you have to heal, what they did to me, and you did this, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to get my get back, or anything like that. Shut all that down, shut it off, shut it out, and just sit with yourself. And when you sit with yourself and you're quiet with yourself, eventually God and yourself is going to start speaking to you. And you're going to start get that. We as women, we have that internal positioning, right? That GPS, that women's intuition. If you sit still long enough, you're going to start speaking to yourself. You're going to start saying, okay, I need to do this, or this needs to be done. Or if money was no object, what would I do? And then you take those steps to get there.
Okay. And so when you think about that, what kind of experiences have helped to shape your confidence? Like, okay, for example, with me, I know that confidence was really something that was very early in me. And I would say a lot of it comes from the fact that my mother was someone who helped me to believe that I could do anything or be anything. And one of the other things that I think helped is I'm the youngest of four. So I had two older brothers and an older sister who always had my back. And that gives you a lot of courage. When you know that you've got people who have your back, you're more willing to take chances. And it does
Right.
sort of build your confidence. I was somebody who, I'm not afraid of taking a chance or a challenge. And so when you do that and you get little successes along the way, it builds on itself. If you do
Mhm.
something and it works, it's like, oh, okay, now I know I can do that. And it keeps growing and growing. Can you
Absolutely.
think of like some experiences that help to shape your confidence?
Oh yes. So again, my a lot of my confidence came from a trauma and me saying enough is enough. I don't have to live this way. God's people's opinion of me does not weigh what God knows about me. I'm a believer, as you can see, and so that is my foundation. I know there are some people who don't subscribe to that, so you're going to have to find what works for you because not what works for one person is not going to work for everybody. So I had that moment where I always call them my walking into my woman moments. And those little bit of moments where I was like, enough is enough. I'm going to do the opposite of what I've been conditioned to know. I had to unlearn some things. I had to heal through some things. I had to cry and pray through some things. And then I picked myself up. I dusted the diamond off and I just let her shine. And it was like you said, it was the little pieces that was like, okay, if I can do this, now I can take this brick and combine it with another brick. And before you know it, you've built something.
So let's say, I mean, I get that. I get that. But I can imagine that there might be some people who don't have the level of
Mm-hmm.
confidence and strength that you do. So let's say that a woman comes to you as a client, you're a confidence coach, and she wants to, let's say, change careers,
Mm-hmm.
but she doesn't believe in herself. She's not sure if she has the right skills to go after this new job, or she feels like, why would they choose me when there's so many other people out there? Kind of break it down. I mean, I know you talk about, go inside yourself and sit with yourself, but what are some other things? What are some practical step-by-step things that someone could do to let to develop their self-worth, for them to have their value in their own mind increased? What are some things that you would perhaps do in a coaching situation?
Yes, in this day and age, we are filled with so much information that is available to us. So you can start with YouTube University and Google Community College, right? There's so much information out there that you can obtain for free. There are classes on LinkedIn that you can take. There are trainings. There are Facebook groups that you can join and say, hey, I'm looking to break into this industry. You got any best practices, or do you have any tips? Or there's networking events that you can go to in your area. There's ways that you can develop for a little to low cost that'll help you along your way.
Okay, and so if I'm going to YouTube University or Google Community College,
Yep.
then as I'm looking to increase my skills, what kind of conversations would you and I be having to help me feel more confident? Because, yeah, I could read the stuff and I can
Mhm.
know from reading what it says to do, but how would my conversations with you actually help me believe in myself?
So, with the spirit of love, I'm gonna talk to you like you're my sister.
All
Like,
right.
I'm gonna talk to you like I'm a sister, and I'm gonna. If you want to hear about my experiences, we could talk about my experiences, or we want to sit and cry, and you want me to just listen to you. We could start wherever you want to start. My goal is to know you. My experience, my way is to get to know you and see where you're at, and then we go from there, because it's an individual thing. It's not cookie cutter. No program is the same for, so I can't really say what I would do until I actually talk to you and see where you're at.
Okay. And that makes sense. And I would think that a lot of women would actually like that, because
Mhm.
no two situations are exactly the same. And so
Absolutely.
anybody who's coming to you to build her confidence is going to want to know that you hear me, you see me, and you're giving me stuff that is going to work specifically for me, not just something that you pull off the shelf. Because, I mean, to
Yes.
your point about Google and YouTube, there's stuff on there with confidence as well, but that's kind of
Mhm.
generic, and it's not
Mhm.
somebody who's going to give you some feedback. But at least if they're
Right.
working with you, they can get some feedback. So I would imagine that that was one of the things that helped you start Color Me Woman. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about the organization and when you started it, why you started it, just anything you want us to know about Color Me
Okay.
Woman.
So, Color Me Woman is an empowerment brand for women of color that I actually started off as an idea. It started off as a final project. I have a degree in marketing management. And for one of my final classes in my marketing management degree, we had to come up with something that we built, and then we had to make a campaign around. So Color Me Woman actually started off as a digital magazine for women of color. And then I just kept having dreams and seeing pieces of my logo. And eventually that evolved into a whole brand. So that's empowerment. That's me being a speaker. That's me being a confidence coach. Also being an author. I've been a part of 2 anthologies. And yes, like you mentioned, I am also working on currently my first ebook. And that is called She Ain't Gotta Like You. And that started, I'm gonna be honest where that title came from. I had an issue with a coworker at my job currently. And we were real cool and everything was everything. But all of a sudden she switched up on me. And I was like, and there was one of those things where I'm like, I do not have to care if she is talking to me or not. Because I was always a fixer. Like, what did I do? What did I say? It makes me feel uncomfortable, and it knocks me off my square when everything between me and another person isn't copacetic. So I was like, you know what? Forget that. She ain't got to like you, and I ain't got to like her. She ain't got to understand me or anything like that. So that's where the idea of She Ain't Gotta Like You came from.
That's confidence right there. That is definitely confidence right there. And it's so true. I think so many times we get caught up in what other people think that we have a
Mhm.
tendency to lose ourselves. There's some
Mhm.
people that are just people pleasers, and they're just not able to function if they feel like there's someone who does not know them or does not like them. Um, Tell me where the name, I love the name Color Me Woman. Where did that come from?
That name actually came from a dream.
Okay.
My dreams they tend to wake me up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm already an insomniac, so I'm working through that. But a lot of my great ideas come between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning. If you see on the side of me right now, how many notebooks I have, different notebooks for different things. And so I started seeing pieces of the logo in my dream. I also came to my cousin, who is a business development consultant. And at the time, I didn't know anything about doing logos. So I just drew out as much as I could and went to my cousin. I said, hey, can you help me finish this? And we went back and forth, I think for like a month or so. And I finally got what the logo that I have now. And I absolutely, absolutely love it. It's about as
Okay.
close to what it looks like in the dream that I can get.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, dreaming serves you well, huh? You got your idea about the ebook, you got your business name and logo. That's really good. That's really good. So,
It's
okay.
internal. It's a lot of this stuff is internal. It's like, okay, I need to again, I was looking for there's a such thing as approval addiction.
Yes.
And that's the subtitle of my book, Breaking Out of the Approval Addiction. And that's looking for that. That's, you got the internal and you got the external. And if you put more focus into everybody else's opinion of you, or if you put more focus into the affirmation part, or the outward affirmation, the outward validation, then you're going to be stuck in that. So I learned to listen to myself as opposed to listening to others.
Yeah. Now you mentioned affirmations. Do you say affirmations? Is that part of your confidence journey?
I do. I do. I had to start with that. Now, when you are first trying to unlearn and go another path, and you're starting off with affirmations, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to sound like you're lying to yourself,
Yeah.
because you don't told yourself all of this for this. So I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. Like, I have acne scars that my cousin, she helped me cover this up for tonight. I'll be honest. Part of my journey and part of Color Me Woman is transparency. And so I struggle with acne and acne scars, even at 41 years old. And being a type 2 diabetic doesn't heal them very often. So I was like, I'm not going to start this until my skin is clear, if I lose a little bit more weight. And I was like, you know what? If you wait for you to be perfect, you're never going to start.
Yeah.
So that's another piece of Color Me Woman, elevating our voices, elevating our stories. And what does that woman look like? What does that experience feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Especially in this day and age where women of color are being so abused on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real. And I think there's so much pressure from society telling us that we have to look a certain way, your hair has to be a certain way, you have to weigh a certain amount. And with all of that, if we keep listening to those voices, it will wear on your confidence, your self-esteem, self-worth. All of those things are tied together. They're almost in some ways just different ways of saying the same thing. And so with
Mhm.
the outside pressures, because clearly if everybody had acne scars, you would not be concerned about covering your acne scars. It's the
Mhm.
fact that we sometimes compare ourselves to other people and we see what they have or don't have, and then we become desirous of that because of the way society makes us feel about it. So I understand that.
Yeah.
And we bring a lot of that into relationships. We bring it into friendships. With you, there was the workplace struggle that was going on. And there's just a lot that you have to be strong and confident, particularly in your relationships. But it does start with you as an individual person. You can't look to anybody else, whether it's your ride or die girlfriend, whether it's your woman, your man. You can't look to other people to make you more confident. You have to have that and bring it to the conversation. And I know a lot of times when I'm talking to women, women will often say that they have more male friends than female friends, or they get along better with men than with women. And it's because sometimes confident women intimidate other people.
Mhm.
Have you seen that? Talk a little bit about that. Why do confident women sometimes intimidate other people?
Because she doesn't have confidence within herself.
Good point.
And she's projecting. And our
Absolutely.
men our men are not as judgmental. You know what I'm saying? They go with facts more than emotion. You know what I'm saying? They are solving problems. Not saying that women aren't solving problem solvers, because we are definitely problem solvers. But when it comes to the other woman, immediately we find ourselves sizing up her outfit, sizing up her confidence and what she look if she looks confident, or if she's got the sauce, or oh, she a baddie and all this type of stuff. If she not a baddie, like it's the again, it's the opinions of others. That is how we govern ourselves, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. And then, like I said at the beginning, we hear about all of these things for women. I think there's a lot that we could learn if we take a look at men, because not to say that they're never insecure or that they don't ever need to be more confident. Yes, certainly they do, but they wear it differently. And it doesn't seem like there are as many men who need that help as there are women. And those who need the help, like I said, they wear it differently, because men can get together and, like you said, deal with the facts, not with emotions. They can, and that doesn't say that women are emotional. There's a difference between being emotional and knowing how to navigate through emotions. So we're not saying that women are too emotional and men are logical. It's not about that. We both have
Amen. I say that.
both of those things in us. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of which one do you tap into at what point in time. Because,
Mhm.
confident women can also intimidate men. And I know that in my single days, sometimes I would run into situations, and when I would run it by just good platonic male friends, sometimes that was the response that they gave me, because they would say that men are, and again, it's all about that brother not being confident in himself. But
Mhm.
as much as men will sometimes say they want a confident woman, or they might say they want a woman who's attractive and intelligent and who's got her own, but then when they come face to face with that situation, many times women who are beautiful and confident and well spoken and have their own and don't necessarily need a man to take care of them, sometimes men get intimidated by that. So
Mhm.
it's not only women who run from confident women, but sometimes men run from confident women as well. If you've got a comment or question, now's the time to talk to us while we've got Michelle here. She is a confidence coach who can help you. Give her a situation. Tell her what you need. You've got some free coaching right here on
Come
Relationship
talk to me, sis.
Conversations with
Come talk to
Dr.
me,
Linda
bro.
Bing. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in lieu of their questions, I'm going to keep going, because there's a lot that I think I can pull from you to help me and others. It doesn't matter how confident you are, you can always become more confident, because, again, I mentioned the panel that I was on this morning. And on that panel, we were talking about, in part, some of the things that losing our jobs or our our businesses as a result of the politics that are going on in the country. And, by companies shifting away from DEI and so many other things. And as we talked about that, one of the things that bubbled up is that we didn't just lose revenue. We didn't just lose our financial status in life. And it's a temporary loss. We will come back. But
As we
we
always do.
we always do, resilient. And so, but we recognize that we also lost a part of our identity, our purpose. And you have to, just kind of shake that off, because I didn't realize, even for myself, how much I linked what I did to who I am. And so when what I did disappeared, then it shook me in terms of who I am and my value and my worth. Because sometimes you feel like if you're not walking in your purpose, if there's no room for your gift, then you can start to wonder, why am I here? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing now? So confidence doesn't only impact us with respect to, relationships and how we interact with other people, but it's even how you interact with yourself. What are some of the messages that you tell yourself? What are the tapes that keep getting played over and over and over inside your head? And if you think a certain way, then you will speak a certain way and you will act a
Mhm.
certain way. And many
Mhm.
times that throws people off. So, one of the things that I do want to talk about is the difference between confidence and arrogance. I think I'll do that after the break. So before we go to break, we still have about 4 minutes before it's time for our first break. But before we go to break, let's think about how confidence impacts relationships, romantic relationships.
Mhm.
So, do you think that low confidence levels in women lead women to tolerate unhealthy relationships?
Yeah.
What's behind that laugh? Come on, girl, spill it, spill it.
Absolutely. Because again, confidence is internal and it's not just a one and done. That's a misconception that I would like to put out there. It's not a one and done. It's not, oh, I got this confidence now, I'm good. No, it's not. It's a constant arrival. There's
Yeah,
levels to confidence. As
yeah,
women, we are onions. There are many, many layers to us. So you might be confident today, like, yeah, I'm bad and I got this and can't nobody tell me nothing. And then there's other days like, I don't feel like doing this. I don't think I'm prepared. I don't think that I'm good enough. Why do they want me here? Do they have the right person? Absolutely, they have the right
absolutely.
person. And sometimes, if you're not careful, there's a lot of times when there are times when people recognize something in you that you haven't even recognized in yourself yet. So sometimes people and their opinions are right, and you just be like, okay, well, there's got to be something about me that has whatever they say that I have.
Yeah,
Take that and help that build you. You don't have to take the criticism. You could take it to grow you, but you don't have to say, okay, this is me, because at the end of the day, criticism and critique is still mounted in sometimes in an opinion. So you could take what you know about you and what you don't know about you, flip it and say, I'm going to unlearn that and I'm going to stop telling myself that lie. And to your question earlier, that's part of your affirmation.
mm,
When you are reprogramming yourself and your mind, because before an intention, before an action, it starts with your mind. It starts with your mindset. And if you don't get your mindset right, anything else is going to trickle down, and it's not going to succeed. So your
yeah,
affirmation at first is going to sound like a lie until you start building in that and walking in that and speaking that into existence. And eventually that becomes you. And it's a
yeah.
constant destination. It's not I've arrived and I'm here. It's a constant buildup. It's a constant, okay, I got to keep on working at this.
Yeah, it's a process. Like you said, it's a
It is.
process because there are different levels of confidence, and you can be confident in one area of your life and lack some confidence in another area. Maybe you're confident
Mhm.
in terms of your skills and ability. You might know your job really well, but you might
Mhm.
not be confident in terms of your style and how you dress. Or maybe
Mhm.
you can be confident about your skills in the kitchen, but you might not be confident about your ability to walk into a room full of strangers and start up a great conversation. So there are always going to be some differences with respect to that. And, when I asked the question about, does confidence lead women to tolerate unhealthy relationships? Again, we're focusing on women because you are a confidence coach for women, but we know that
Right.
this can be flipped and men can experience this as well. But
Absolutely.
yes, when you feel as if, or when you question your value or your worth, when you feel like you may not be good enough, pretty enough, smart enough, thin enough, fat enough, whatever the case might be. When you're going through that, it will cause you to accept things that you might not otherwise accept, because sometimes your mind will trick you into thinking that if you let this relationship go because you feel like you don't measure up, you wonder whether or not you will get another relationship. And I tell you, I found I was doing some just looking for things to binge watch at one point in time, like on Netflix. And I came across a show that I think was like 2023 or something. I had never heard of it before. It was called Shrill. And the whole thing behind it, there were 3 seasons of it and then they stopped making it. But the whole thing behind it was there was this young woman who was often body shamed. And she came to the realization, over the 3 seasons, you saw her development. She started out putting up with lots of things from men just to have their time and attention, to have somebody love on her, and those kind of take her out. Well, actually, they didn't take her out, which is one of the things that she talked about, and she recognized that it was because they were ashamed of her due to her size, and her friends were always trying to get her to come out of that. But she had to eventually, on her own, go through a process to get there. So I think we've got. Hold on, I'm told that there's some stuff online. There's somebody who is Changers 1000 said it might be me. Oh, they were saying having a hard time hearing. Okay. And then you can hear now. Thank you for letting us know. All right. So now we have somebody who's saying hello from New York City by way of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate that and hope that you and your family, I'm glad to see that you all made it to New York safely. That's a good thing. Enjoy my city. I live in Atlanta, but Brooklyn is home. So before we break, let's just take a look at the difference between confidence and control, because it can get out of hand. So confidence sometimes gets confused with control, but confidence is like trust in yourself, being able to rely on yourself, having a firm belief.
If you notice, because I pay attention to these things, we have all kinds
of I'm getting some feedback, Hezriel.
Programs for women or women's empowerment.
Hezriel, I'm hearing Hezriel. I am hearing stuff that I said that was recorded a few minutes ago. All right. So confidence is trust. And when you have a firm belief in yourself or in something, then you're confident about yourself or that thing. And so it's that self-assurance. It's like a strong belief in your abilities or your competence, your capability, and trusting in your own skills and judgment. But then control is about managing or directing or restraining. And the mindset of someone who wants to control is driven by, usually by some deep anxiety or insecurity or fear of the unknown. So sometimes it comes from past trauma, like we said, or some chaos or a feeling of helplessness. Someone who wants to control usually believes that by micromanaging their environment and the people around them, that they can ensure their safety and avoid failure, maintain a sense of order. It's not always about them wanting power over you. Sometimes control is about them trying to keep you from having power over them. So that control still comes from a lack of confidence, because they feel as if I've got to control everything to keep it from going haywire. If something surprises me, I won't know how to handle it. If something comes out of left field, I don't know what to do. So I need to maintain control and predictability in order to mask my own insecurities. So I'm going to ask that folks think about that for a minute. It's time for us to take a break. We are being educated on the subject of confidence and how it empowers women for better relationships. We're speaking with my guest, Michale, who is the founder of Color Me Woman. We've got a lot more to cover. Time for a break. We'll be right back. This is Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing on Pittsburgh's DSEN.
Looking for a cost-effective way to help increase your company's bottom line? Look no further than Soul Pit Media. With our award-winning print, internet, podcast, and Soul Pit television options, we can help your business get to that next level. For more information, contact Craig Dawson at 412-407-7685. That's 412-407-7685. And let Soul Pit Media take you to that next level.
Business owners thinking about back-to-school promotions and replacing summer flavors with pumpkin? What about your taxes? Reduce your stress and tax liabilities by planning for tax time now with Cameron Professional Services Group. CPSG takes your goals, values, and visions to create a custom tax plan catered specifically to your business. We work closely with you to ensure that as your business grows and goals shift, so will your custom plan. Located in the Hill District in Pittsburgh, PA, CPSG is a CPA and consultant firm, providing services in accounting, auditing, tax planning and preparation, community development, and operational management. Call Cameron Professional Services Group today at 412-251-0607.
Have you had the Beat by Niche experience? Beat by Niche is one of the top makeup artists in the city of Pittsburgh. She's touched the face of Cardi B, love and hip-hop personalities, and various Steeler wives. If you have not sat in her chair, what are you waiting for? Visit beatbyniche.com to schedule your special makeover for all occasions, weddings, graduations, proms, photo ops, and more. Visit beatbyniche.com and experience the touch of excellence.
Wait a minute.
I'm not where I'm going, but I'm not where I've been. Exactly where I'm standing, he got me so content. 'Cause sometimes life be life and rain on the horizon, crushed on every side, but still I'm out here thriving. Sometimes the noise can be so loud, but I'm always above, won't never stay down.
Yeah, sing about it, Bree. That's Bree Babineau, and she's letting us know life be lifing, but you have to dig deep down inside and just keep going, keep that confidence going. Confidence attracts. It really does attract people. They see something. Many times they can't put their finger on it, but they see something. So welcome back. I'm Dr. Linda Bing, and this is Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing on Pittsburgh's DSCN. My special guest tonight is Michale. She is the founder of Color Me Woman, and we're having a great conversation about confidence. If you want to get in on this conversation, call 412-213-8995 or text 412-218-3888. And of course, if you are not only listening but viewing us, you can see those numbers on the screen. So please feel free to use them. That's why we're here. All right. So I mentioned that confidence attracts and control suffocates. You know, when you are controlling, you can suffocate the life out of a relationship. You really can, because no one wants to feel like they are not free to be themselves or not free to move the way that they need to move. It's really important that we understand the difference between those things. Sometimes we'll say that someone is intimidated by us. We talked about intimidation a little bit, and it may not be that they're intimidated. It's just that you're so controlling that they just, withdraw and hide. So, all right, we talked about confidence. We talked about control. I want to talk a little bit about arrogance, because arrogance is when you are overbearing or unpleasantly proud. It's okay to have confidence in who you are and in your abilities. But if you're somebody who is always talking about you and always talking about your achievements, your accomplishments, even if they're past, there's some people who will constantly tell you stories about all of their great accomplishments in their younger years. It's because they may have developed this. Maybe they feel like they're not doing enough now, so they have to keep falling back on what they did before. And when people are arrogant, it involves like behaving as if you are more important or superior or more knowledgeable, more athletic, whatever it might be, than others. And it can often come along with a dismissive or disrespectful attitude. Shows up in different ways. So like one thing is to be excessively self-important. When you've got this exaggerated sense of how good you are at anything, that's arrogance. If you have contempt, you look down on other people and treat them like they are not as good as you are, that's arrogance. And closed-mindedness. If you're someone who doesn't listen to other people's opinions, or you reject feedback because you assume that you already have all the answers, again, that's arrogance. So I wonder, Michale, do you have any advice for people in terms of how do you balance that? How do you make sure that as you're becoming confident, you don't take it too far and become arrogant?
So going back to a little bit for what you said about control. Now, yes, there's control and there's the arrogance. There's also a piece that's called boundaries. And sometimes when somebody else is not feeling confident within themselves, your boundary setting can sound like control. It can sound like and feel like arrogance to them, because again, they say that perception is somebody's reality, right? And so you may sound arrogant, you may not feel like you are arrogant. And then on the other piece where you're saying about arrogance, it could be that that person is arrogant because at one point in time they felt powerless, and now they're like, okay, you're gonna feel my power, you're gonna listen to me, my voice matters to me, and it should matter to you as well. So it also comes from trauma or their voice being silenced or whatever that may be. And then there's people who are just crazy.
And with that trauma that may have taken place, lots of times we can walk through life without even realizing that we've been traumatized by something. It's like we might think that we can shake it off. Or one example that comes to mind can be children who grow up in a household where there's a lot of dysfunction, or the parents are constantly arguing and at one another's throats. That can be traumatizing to a young child, and they may not recognize it. They just see it as, well, that's just the way my mom and dad are. But that will have an impact on that child, and it could also impact their confidence. What do they think about themselves? Or if it's a kid who maybe has a single parent, whether it's a mom or a dad, and that parent has to work a lot, and there's nobody else to kind of love on that child. So if the kid is always home by themselves with nobody else to lean on, talk to, whatever, they may start to internalize that as feeling like, I'm not worthy of my parents' time. They don't want to spend time with me. That's where that whole thing when parents get divorced, where kids sometimes feel like, oh, it's my fault. I wonder if I had been better behaved, but they have stayed together. So there are things like that happen that can be chaotic and dysfunctional and traumatizing, and it will impact that young person's mind and how they advance through life. And so I'm sure that you've got some thoughts with respect to healthy relationships and what that looks like. So, forget about the whole thing about confidence. We don't have to speak specifically to that. But when you have relationships, healthy relationships in mind, when you're working with a woman to make her better for herself first, but also better for her interactions with other people, what does a healthy, confident relationship look like?
I also want to speak on also saying that you don't necessarily have to come from trauma. You can come from a two-parent healthy background. Sometimes society can beat you up and beat your confidence up as well. Environmental, it doesn't even necessarily have to come from the home or the community. So speaking, making sure that I mention that, but the process is, again, internally. What do I do? What does one person do? It starts with yourself. What do I do? What are the lies that I've been speaking to myself all this time?
Okay, but how do you recognize it's a lie? That's one of the questions. How do you recognize if you have internalized something and you believe that to be true about yourself? How do you come to the realization that it's a lie?
How do you speak to yourself, and how do your actions reflect that?
Okay, say some more about that. Like, let's say, for instance, that I was your client and I came to you and I felt like I don't know, like maybe let's say I wanted to start my own business, which we know I've done, but if I wanted to start my own business and I feel like I don't know if I could really step out on my own. Let's say it was a situation where all throughout my life I've been told that I don't measure up, I'm not good enough. What if they're right? What if I really can't make a business go? If I came to you with that kind of mindset, how would you help me understand that that's a lie?
You have to challenge that. You have to challenge that belief. Anytime you say you can't do something, that's already limiting. And we're going to take the limits off. That's first and foremost. Anytime somebody says you can't do something unless you have a disability that is not enabling you to do said project. Let's say it's a project, right? Let's say you're a part of a team and you've been said, okay, I can't do this. Well, why can't you? Can you really not do it? Or is it your fear of failure that's telling you can't do it? It depends on what your self-talk is.
Okay. And so, so you have to examine somebody's self-talk in order to find out if they are telling themselves things that keep, pushing them down and pushing them down. All right, that's interesting.
Like I said earlier, every action starts with a mindset. Every action, every intention starts with your mindset. What you're telling yourself inwardly is what you're going to exhibit outwardly.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, that's a principle that's rooted in psychology, in fact. And you use the term unlearn, and there are some psychological theories that look at that. You have to unlearn and then reframe and then relearn, because we all have some things that we could unlearn as we go through life. But you're right, your mindset, even scripture tells you, as a man thinketh, so is he. Your mindset determines how you behave. And many times we're focused on what we want to have without thinking about, okay, well, if that's what I want to have, you go backwards. If this is what I want to have, what do I have to do in order to get what I want to have? And what kind of mindset do I have to have in order to do the things I need to do to obtain the things that I want to have? So it really is, it all starts with mindset. Everything in life rises and falls on mindset. And I don't think we know enough about it just in general. We're never really taught how to examine our thoughts. How often do you come in contact with somebody unless you seek out a coach or a therapist? You don't come in contact with people who really challenge your thinking and help you to realize that, yeah, you've been believing that all of your life, but it's not true. Because sometimes, people will find things to confirm what they believe. So if you believe something to be true, as soon as you see something that looks like it, you're like, see, I told you that was going to happen. And so we have to be careful of that too, because we often look for things to confirm what we already believe. But I want to take you back to something. I want to take you back to something you said earlier, where you talked about an important word: boundaries. Boundaries. Many times people who are people pleasers feel like it might be unfair to someone to say no or to set a boundary so that people don't overstep. And then there are times when we're not clear on how we should behave in certain situations, but boundaries are so important. Like, I forget who it was. I think maybe Eleanor Roosevelt, who said that we train people how to treat us. If you accept it, they're going to do it. So boundaries are key to this. Say some more about how boundaries are important to confidence.
Saying no, period, not no, comma, to others.
And no is a full sentence. That's something people need to understand. When you say no, you don't have to explain it. No means no. But anyway, go ahead.
No, period, not no, comma, and yes, period, to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds simple, but I know, which is why people need services like yours, because it sounds simple, but it can be hard to do, especially if you've lived an entire lifetime of not having boundaries, or saying no, comma, or not saying yes to yourself, putting other people ahead of you and taking care of the needs of others before you take care of the needs of yourself. So tell us a little bit about your ebook. I want to hear more about, she don't have to like, what's it called? She ain't got to like you.
She ain't got to like you. She ain't got to like you. It is literally in the manuscript stages. I am on chapter 3. I have reworked my intro like 4 times. So I'm still in the manuscript phase. I edit as I go, because I don't like having long things to edit at one time. That's not how I work. So that should be, I want to release that by December.
Okay. And so give us a hint of some of the stuff that's in there and who it's for.
It is for the woman who listens to everybody else before herself. It is about the woman who trusts everybody's opinion and that outside validation that I was telling you about, as opposed to believing and listening to themselves. And I was that woman. I'll be honest. I think the most authentic part of me and the most transparent part of me is I'm not afraid to admit that woman was me, where I was like, okay, I would say a joke and I would wait to chuckle to see if you would chuckle first. And once I saw that you were chuckling to my joke, I'm like, okay, I must have been funny. So now I can chuckle too. I was that woman. I was that woman that I thought something of myself. And I said, you know what? That's not necessarily the norm. I've always been accused of doing too much, and I listened to that way more than I was supposed to listen to myself, and found out I wasn't doing too much. This is just how God made me, and you're just gonna have to accept that. And if you don't accept it, that's cool. I'm still me. I'm still alive, and I still have this gift, and I'm still beautiful, whether you accept or like me or not.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. So now when the book is ready, the ebook around December, how will
Mhm.
people access a copy?
Yes, so they can start by emailing me at Michale, MICHALE, CMW, which stands for Color Me Woman, at gmail.com. I will also put my phone number out there. I don't mind. It is 414-275-3163. Yes, I know I'm in Decatur, Georgia now, but that number is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm not changing my number for a little while because I have previous clients that I want to be able to still get in contact with me. I am also on Facebook as Michale CMW. And then I have a Color Me Woman brand page. I am also on Instagram at color.me.woman.
Okay. And so give us the email and the phone number one more time in case they didn't have a pen ready.
Yes, ma'am. It is M as in Mary, ICHALE, C as in cat, M as in Mary, W as in wonderful at gmail.com. My phone number is 414-275-3163. Text me first so I know it's you.
Yeah. Good. And I'm sure there might be some people who want your services. So by you giving out your information, if there's somebody who recognizes that they might need a confidence coach, maybe they're operating in fear. They have a fear of failure or a fear of rejection. Those are all signs that you need a boost of confidence. So if you're someone who doesn't take risk because you don't want to fail. I mean, failure is a part of life. And in fact, there's a great book called The Failure is the Womb of Success, because you have to, if you're trying something, you're going to fail. And failing helps you to learn what not to do the next time. So yeah, failing is a part of life. We need to be prepared for that. But there's people out there, I'm sure there are people out there who could use a boost of confidence. And we know that you have living proof of how confidence can help shape lives, because you have helped to shape a young lady by the name of Omni, your daughter, who is so confident in her abilities that she's stepping out and doing some great and wonderful things. So can we meet Omni?
Yes, I'll be. Somebody is calling for you. Let me see. Let's get you a chair. I'm gonna move over.
Hello,
Hi, Omni. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Welcome to Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing.
Thank you.
So I want to, well, first of all, do you mind telling us how old you are?
Yes, I am 17 years old.
Okay, 17 years old. And I understand that you have some career goals in mind. Share some of your career goals with us.
My career goals. First, I want to inspire other young girls like me, give them something to look forward to like look at a model at like me, look up towards a model and say, oh, she's doing it and she's doing it wonderfully. I want to do it like her. I want to be successful like she is, and give them that hope that they can do it and will be able to do it no matter what nobody tells them.
Okay. And so where does that come from? I know your mom talks a lot about it being internal, but as you're growing up, what were some things that maybe your mom said or did that let you know that you could be successful? Can you think of some things that maybe she said or did?
First, her going to school. She never stopped and she still wants to go. Now she says she wants to go back. She she always says, oh, I want to get this done, I want to get this done, I want to get this done. And it inspires me because like she never stops. She wants to have multiple things for herself, and I admire that about her. She's a really hard worker.
Okay.
And
And that probably helps you to be a hard worker too, doesn't it?
yes,
Yeah. So if you ever, I mean, we know you're perfect, you're the perfect child, but if you ever make a mistake or if you get a grade that's not so good, or how does your mom handle stuff like that?
she doesn't have a negative reaction at all. She tells me, "Oh, I want you to get A's and B's. That's my expectation." And I get that. It's not very hard to get A's and B's, but I took that and ran with it, and I wanted to get all A's. Even if I don't get it, she'll be like, "Oh, it's okay. A's and B's are fine. You don't have to cry. You don't have to cry. It's fine." And she
Okay.
encourages me like, "Hey, this is okay. You don't have to set that high expectation. Like, yes, you can set it up for yourself, but you don't have to be that high. You don't have to be perfect." So I'm really thankful for a mom that tells me that, and
Yeah,
I can
because that's
fall back on
important too. We have to know that it's okay if we, not if we fail, but failure should be okay as well. But it's okay if we miss the mark every now and then because nobody is perfect. Nobody's going to do things perfectly all the time. And if there's someone who is reacting too harshly when you're not meeting their expectations, that can take some of the confidence away from you too. So I understand that you do a few things. I mean, besides being in school, you do some modeling. Tell me about that.
modeling. It came after, when I wanted to become an actor. I was like, hey, these two comes in a package deal. I can do both, and and bring myself out there. People can see me on the modeling side. People can see me on the acting side. Oh, like, hey, I see her in this. I want to go explore what she's doing over here. And I always wanted to be a model and an actor. I really like. Let's say I really enjoy like seeing people walk the stage and being confident with themselves, all the twists and turns they do when they walk on stage. I love seeing that. So I just wanted to do that myself.
It does take some confidence to get up on that stage, walk across that stage with all eyes on you. So, what else? Acting, modeling. Is there anything else that you're involved in?
Yes, I also have my own business.
Tell us about your business.
First, it's called Omni Victoria. My name comes from Omni Victoria, Delaware, which is my whole name. It's going to be a clothing brand. It's going to have um, accessories. And when I first said I was inspiring young girls, that's where it came from, my business. I wanted to do that with my business. So, they see me as a Black young girl out here, and then they can go to my shop and it says on my clothes, it will say goals for them, quotes that they can like look at, inspo they can like look for and stuff like that.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. See, and all of this comes from the fact that you are a confident young woman and you have someone, at least someone, your mom. I'm sure you have other people as well who are encouraging you and inspiring you and setting an example for you. And that's all absolutely wonderful. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with me and sharing what you're doing and how your mom is helping to shape your confidence. Because if some young people listen to this, then they may become hopeful and inspired by your success. And you might even inspire some older folks. There might be people that feel like, well, if she could do it at 17, then I know I can do it. So I appreciate that. And it's almost time for our break. So I'm going to ask each of you, Omni, I'm going to ask you if you have something that you would like to leave with people. Just maybe think about other young women, young girls, and whether it's related to confidence or career aspirations, whatever the case might be, what is something that you would like to say to these young girls? And while you think about that for a moment, when she's done, Michelle, I'm going to ask you to give us your last words with respect to what you want people to know. We've had this conversation around confidence and relationships and how the two come together. I would like to know what you would want to leave with people as well. So, Miss Omni Victoria, what a beautiful name. You go first.
So, like I said earlier about inspiration, I don't want my color or my age group to feel like they're this young and put into a small group where they can't explore out there and put themselves out there. I want them to know from me that you can do this. You can do this. You will do it, and you will be successful no matter who wants to stop you. It can even be your parents. Hey, you can still go do it behind their back. Look, you can still do it. You can still do it.
Okay. All right. And you have to be creative too, because sometimes parents might stop you because they may feel like they don't have the money or the time. So you have to be creative. Michelle, what would you like
Yes,
to leave
ma'am.
our listeners with?
Um, believe in yourself, trust in yourself. Literally go inward and listen to that inner voice. That inner voice is there for a reason. It is your spirit crying out, saying, "Hey, I want something more." But how do I get more? That's the question. A lot. You can have the desire all day long, but how do you walk that bridge of coming from a desire to actually walking into fruition? And it starts with listening to your inner voice and trusting that, and trust God
Wonderful.
always.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate you joining us. And thank you to our listeners for hanging in there and listening to this conversation as well. We're going to take a break. And after the break, we will look a little bit towards the outward expression of confidence. What are some things that you can do outwardly to build your confidence or to show your confidence? So take a break. Come right back and stay tuned in. Call folks, tell them to listen, but stay tuned in to Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing on Pittsburgh's DSCN. We'll be right back.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
What's up, Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh's DSEN listeners? It's Monday. Let's start the week off right. We have that soulful music to help you. Yes, we have all the soulful sounds, and we hope that you're enjoying it. If so, send us a text at 412-218-3888 to let us know. We're wishing everyone a safe, productive, and fun week. And of course, keep our sounds on and let someone know about us. We are Pittsburgh's DSEN, the place for soul.
Looking for a cost-effective way to help increase your company's bottom line? Look no further than Soul Pit Media. With our award-winning print, internet, podcast, and Soul Pit television options, we can help your business get to that next level. For more information, contact Craig Dawson at 412-407-7685. That's 412-407-7685. And let Soul Pit Media take you to that next level.
Business owners thinking about back-to-school promotions and replacing summer flavors with pumpkin? What about your taxes? Reduce your stress and tax liabilities by planning for tax time now with Cameron Professional Services Group. CPSG takes your goals, values, and visions to create a custom tax plan catered specifically to your business. We work closely with you to ensure that as your business grows and goals shift, so will your custom plan. Located in the Hill District in Pittsburgh, PA, CPSG is a CPA and consultant firm, providing services in accounting, auditing, tax planning and preparation, community development, and operational management. Call Cameron Professional Services Group today at 412-251-0607.
Have you had the Beat by Niche experience? Beat by Niche is one of the top makeup artists in the city of Pittsburgh. She's touched the face of Cardi B, love and hip-hop personalities, and various Steeler wives. If you have not sat in her chair, what are you waiting for? Visit beatbyniche.com to schedule your special makeover for all occasions: weddings, graduations, proms, photo ops, and more. Visit beatbyniche.com and experience the touch of excellence.
Welcome back, everyone. Come on back in the room, have a seat. Welcome back to Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing. You're listening to Pittsburgh's DSEN. I love that song. I love Golden by Jill Scott. And it really speaks to what we're talking about tonight. You know, when you are confident and when you are feeling self-assured, no matter what you're going through in life, you are living your life like it's golden. So I would encourage everyone, take some inspiration, not only from Michale and her young daughter, Omni, who is doing things and having her own business and making it happen, but also, look for inspiration wherever you can find it and make sure that you are living your life like it's golden. All right, so we're going to be joined by Andrea Young. But before Andrea gets here, I just want to go over some of the things that we were talking about already. So I want to give you some signs, ways that you can differentiate between confidence, control, and arrogance, because those were three of the things that I spoke about with Michale. So one thing is, here's some signs that you're confident. When you can apologize. See, confident people have no problem saying, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong, my bad, however you choose to say it. But if you can admit to being wrong and not just know it in your head, but verbally speak it to whoever that person happens to be, then by all means, that's one sign that you are definitely confident. You have some confidence. When you can celebrate others, because confident people find joy in other people's success as well. When you're not confident, when you're feeling insecure, you feel like them getting something is somehow a slap in the face for you, or you feel like, what's wrong with me and why can't I? So avoid those whiny periods and get to a place where you can really find joy in the success of other people, celebrate them. Confident people are okay with hearing no. I have to admit, that's one of the ones that in some areas I still struggle with a little bit. Not so much in my personal life, but in business especially. I am not big on sales. And of course, as a businesswoman, I have to be. You know, if you're in business, you're in sales. But I still don't like hearing no. But when you are confident, you can hear no. You don't take it personally. You know that they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to whatever it is that you've put before them, a product, a service, an idea, whatever. And you, in addition to not taking it personally, you just kind of let it, go with the flow, and you recognize, okay, not everyone is going to say yes. Not all of my ideas or my requests are going to be fulfilled. I'm not going to let it change me or deter me. So yeah, that's an area I'm still working in a little bit, but confident people are okay with hearing no. And another sign that you're confident is when you don't need to win every argument. When you can just be quiet and walk away, that's another sign that you're confident. If you are troubled by the fact that you think someone else feels like they always have to be right, you're not as confident as you think you are, because what you're saying is you don't want them to be right. You want to be right. And so confident people recognize and acknowledge the fact that they're not going to win every argument. They don't have to win every argument. And when I say argument, I'm not talking in a harsh way, but just every discussion, every debate that takes place. People don't have to see your position all the time. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that you see things differently and you just kind of let it go. Now, signs that you might be controlling. If you're constantly checking up on people, if you need to know where they are, who they're with, what they're doing, when they'll be home, that's control, because you're trying to, it might not be as direct as you think of control, but you're trying to keep tabs on them. And just by asking the questions, it can put some undue pressure on that individual to make sure that they are where you think they ought to be, coming back when you think they ought to be coming back, etc. So it's kind of a form of manipulation. When you are constantly checking on people, in some ways you are monopolizing and manipulating where they are and where they need to be. When you're controlling, you need things to go your way. Controlling people have a tendency of putting things in certain places, lining things up. They like predictability and they need for it to flow that way. If it doesn't, it kind of throws them off their game because they need to make sure that everything lines up the way it's supposed to be. Control really is not about power as much as it's about insecurity. If you're controlling, you monitor people's phones, you monitor social media, you monitor the mail. Some people still get cards and letters in the old snail mail way. You pay attention to everything because you feel as if you need to know. If you're someone who you need to know everything and not just know the what's, but the whys and the wheres and the hows and the whens, if you have to be in the know all the time, that's a form of control. And if you're somebody who maybe you don't tell people what to do, but you set the boundaries in such a way that you limit what they can do, you may not be verbalizing it, but you're still manipulating their behavior. You're still putting guardrails around what they can or cannot do, and that's controlling. And sometimes people use guilt in addition to manipulation. If you are someone that uses guilt or manipulation, then that's a sign that you might be controlling. No one wants to think that they're controlling. And sometimes people will say, well, I'm not trying to control other people. I'm just trying to keep other people from controlling me. That might be a cop out. That's a phrase that lots of controlling people use. Yes, it's good to have boundaries, just like Michelle told us about. It's good to have boundaries, but your boundaries should be about protecting you. They should not be about other people or trying to get other people to do what you want them to do. So now look at arrogance. Signs that you might be arrogant. When you think you're always right. If you believe that you know so much and you're so smart that you're always right, that's a sign of arrogance. Now, there are some people who are very knowledgeable in a subject matter area. There's some people that do a lot of research, so they are confident that what they're saying is correct. It's okay to be confident in what you're saying. But if you think that every situation with every purpose, every person, you're always right, that could be arrogance. Arrogance is when you dismiss the opinions of others. When nobody else's opinion matters, just your own, you're basically saying that you're superior to them in some way. And that's a sign of arrogance. When you struggle to admit mistakes, remember I said confident people apologize. If you won't apologize, if you never say the words, I'm sorry. I've been in situations with people where perhaps after an argument or after they were wrong, they don't come back and say anything. They just act like nothing ever happened. Sometimes people are very reluctant to use those words. They don't want to admit a mistake. And if you're one of those people, if you don't use those words, I'm sorry, I apologize, that's not confidence, that's arrogance, because you're too proud. You're too proud to admit that you were wrong. You need to be the smartest person in the room, then you're arrogant. Quite frankly, I need to be in a place where I don't want to be the dumbest person, but I don't want to be the smartest person either. I want to be in a room where I can learn and grow from the people around me. And so there needs to be a good mix. I would like to be able to pour into other people and share some of my knowledge and experiences. And I want to be able to glean some knowledge and experience from other people as well. But when you have to be the smartest person in the room, that's about arrogance. You want to dominate. You want to be in control. Confidence turns into arrogance when you believe in your own abilities and your value shifts to needing to prove that you're better than other people. If you are good and you know you're good, that should be reward enough. You should not have to prove it to other people. If you're feeling like that, there's some insecurity that's kicking in. So while confidence empowers you to learn and collaborate, arrogance builds a wall of superiority that closes you off. It closes you off from receiving new ideas. It causes you to dismiss the value of the people around you. You can't learn and grow. You heard Michelle talk a lot about confidence being internal. Yeah, confidence is an inside job. It means you believe in yourself, but you recognize that you still have room to learn. Arrogance requires external comparison. It takes a look at what other people have or do or look like, whatever. It's the need to feel superior to those who are around you. And the reason you have that need is so it can prop you up. It props up your ego. It makes you feel better about you. Arrogant people are often insecure in some area, which is why they feel they need to make themselves look superior. Confidence says things like, I know my worth. When you know your worth, you're confident. Arrogance is, I'm worth more than you, or I'm worth more than other people. If you feel that way, then you're arrogant. So as you work on your confidence, make sure that you are using yourself as the reference point. You want to get better than where you were. You don't want to get better than where someone else is. The goal should be to be your best, not to be better than someone else. And I told you that I would be joined by another guest. I'm going to bring her on because she's someone who helps with confidence from the outside. She's someone who helps us get our look and our image together. Just as I was talking to Michale, and Michale shared how sometimes her acne scars give her a problem. She doesn't necessarily want people to see the acne scars. We all have things about our exterior that we wish were a little different. We have things, maybe you want to be taller, maybe you want to be thinner, maybe you want different texture of hair, whatever the case might be. There's something that most people, if they could, would consider changing. And so whereas change may not be the answer, we certainly can enhance. So I'm going to bring on my guest. I think she is ready to join us. Andrea, are you there?
Yes.
Great. All right. If you turn your camera on, please. So Andrea Young is a proud South Carolina native who has been residing in Georgia for more than 25 years. By profession, she's a speech language pathologist, helping children find their voices, build confidence, and reach their full potential. But she's also an independent beauty consultant, and she has been for more than 20 years. She does the same thing for adults. You know, she helps them find their voice. She helps them express themselves, build confidence, etc. She specializes in skincare and fragrances for women and for men. And her mission is to help people feel confident, beautiful, and appreciated. She's here to carry out that mission with you tonight. So I'm inviting you to, in your own quiet way, welcome Andrea Young. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free. Remember, the number to call is 412-213-8995 or text 412-218-3888. Welcome, Andrea.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me tonight.
I appreciate you being here. I know I confused you a little bit with timing, and I apologize for that, but you are flexible and you showed up, and that's a great thing. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've been discussing confidence. And while it begins on the inside, the outside is important too. But some women feel guilty for investing in self-care. So how does self-care, in your opinion, how does that affect confidence?
Self confidence starts with self-care. When you take a few minutes to take care of yourself, it sends yourself a message that I'm worthy, that I'm worth the time and I'm worth the investment. And it's just building a routine and you just pampering yourself. And we need self-care. We need that confidence. It builds your confidence. So just taking the time to take a little bit of time out for yourself, to pamper yourself, to take care of your skin, to just relax and just enjoy yourself because you deserve it.
Yeah, I like that. Now, most of the time, I should say many times when we think about self-care, our minds go straight to women. Lots of times because we think about women with skincare routines or with getting hair and nails done and those kinds of things. But you provide services and products not only for women, but for men. So let's start with the men. What are some simple self-care routines that men can do?
Okay, so simple self-care routines that men can do as well. Take care of your skin. A cleanser, a moisturizer with sunscreen, shaving cream, beard oil. Just take care of yourself, and it builds a man's confidence as well. And wear a cologne, make him feel presence, and you can tell it different when a guy walks in and he feels good about what he's done. His hair is groomed. His beard is groomed, his hair is cut, he has on a nice shirt and pants, and he walks in the room with confidence. And men start with that because men want healthy skin as well. And there's nothing wrong with taking care of your skin as a guy. So that's what I recommend. Just a simple cleanser, moisturizer, and shaving cream to help groom that beard if you have one.
I love that because, many times we talk about men being visual, but women are visual too. And we like to see a man who's well put together. And when a man smells good, oh my goodness, that's just like, it takes it over the top. So you are so right. And I wanted to bring that into the conversation early because we do spend a lot of time thinking about women and self-care routines for women. So I wanted to highlight the men a little bit. Now, by comparison, let's shift over to the women. And what are some simple, I'm sure it's going to be similar, but what are some simple things that women can do for self-care?
Self-care started with good skincare as well, just a cleanser. You can do 2 or 3 or 4 steps. Sometimes when we do more steps than what guys do, taking time to just elevate you, make your skincare looks good, taking care with a fragrance, also just grooming yourself, wearing colors that look beautiful on you. And once you glow with your skin, and it's not about makeup. What we do, we teach you some makeup, but it's about healthy skin. And once you're glowing with your skin, even if you don't like makeup or do like makeup, it builds your confidence as well. You walk in a room more taller, smiling more, and people compliment you when you take care of your skin. So that builds your confidence.
I find that to be so true. And one of the things that my husband says is he finds me more attractive without makeup than with makeup. And a lot of that I know I attribute to good skincare, because to your point, if you're taking good care of your skin, it just glows by itself. I happen to have been blessed with an even skin tone. I mean, my mom had an even skin tone, my grandmother had. And so I remember there were times when friends would say, "What kind of foundation are you wearing?" And it's like, I'm not wearing a foundation because I didn't need to have it be an anchor for other makeup on top of it, because I wasn't going to be wearing other makeup. And I did not need it to even out my skin tone. But yeah, sometimes I think we think about makeup being necessary in order to make us look more beautiful, when skincare, and now that I'm a woman of a certain age, collagen is becoming one of my best friends. I think it's so important. So tell us a little bit about collagen. Well, first of all, as an independent beauty consultant, I know that you represent Mary Kay products. And so what is something that Mary Kay might have that you could offer to women to help with skincare and to keep our skin looking youthful?
Yes. Okay. So we have several skincare sets, and as you age, when your mid-20s, your body naturally starts producing, but slows down collagen. And what collagen does, collagen keeps everything tight and right. That's what we use in Mary Kay. We keeps it tight and firm. So you do want to start using products that has collagen in it. And we have a range of products. We have one which is a serum we call lifting serum. We call it Spanx in a bottle. So it keeps everything tight and right. So you do want to start taking care of your skin. Now, nothing stops us from aging, but you can age gracefully and beautifully. So we just teach you routines that you can do day and night with simple routines. Takes 5 minutes in the morning, 5 to 7 minutes in the morning, 5 to 7 minutes at night. And you'll see amazing difference in your skin, because as you age, you start seeing things that you don't want to see. You lose the collagen. Your face and your skin starts sagging. And African Americans, we don't normally show wrinkles as much, fine lines, but what we do, we will, I call sag and drag. You have some lines where you're not smiling, and it is there for you. But once you start a skincare regimen, that slows that down and helps you age more gracefully. And that's what we're designed to do, enhancing your beauty, your natural beauty. That's what we do.
That's good. That's good. I find that by the end of the day, I have what I call those little parentheses, those little curves right here. And so to your point, I don't have lots of wrinkles. I'm not dealing with the wrinkles in the forehead or crow's feet and stuff. But yeah, those little parentheses there. And I do notice that my skin changes as I get older. Now, because I'm certified in menopause, I understand that also, in addition to losing the collagen, there's a difference with respect to estrogen. Estrogen touches every part of our body, basically. And so as we lose the estrogen and the collagen and other nutrients for our other hormones that provide nutrition to our skin, you can see a difference. So what do you recommend? What can women do to stay not only attractive to themselves, but attractive to to the men in their life, with respect to skin right now. As we age, our skin does dry out. So what are some things you could do to keep it healthy and glowing? And like I said, I think that's why he thinks I look better without makeup, because makeup can get in the way. It really can by the
Yes.
time
Yeah.
you put it all on. But if your skin is healthy and glowing, that's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing. So what are some of the changes you're aware of that happen to our skin as we age?
As we age, your skin, it becomes drier. You do see fine lines and wrinkles. It becomes dull. I mean, sometimes we haven't exfoliated our skin. So those are some of the major ones. You lose the collagen. You lose the firmness in your skin. So as you age, your body is changing, and your skin is not producing cycles, renewing their skin cycle as fast. When you are your teenager, it renews 10 to 21 days. As you're in your 40s and 50s, it slows down. Your skin renews 45 to 60 days.
Mm.
So everything slows down. And another thing to help you age gracefully, when you see those changes, there's not a one size fits all. I listen to what the client needs, her concerns, and we address those concerns and designs products or recommend products that specifically can handle the dullness. A lot of times you need more moisture in your skin. You need more
Yeah,
hydration.
hydration is important. You have to drink
Yes.
more water, especially as we're getting older for the reasons that you just mentioned. So I know you have helped lots of people with their skincare. Um, Tell us about a time when you did a makeover on someone, whether it was male or female, and the change that you saw. And I want to know how it impacted them. What did they tell you they felt or experienced as a result of the makeover that you did? So can you think of a time when you worked on a client and did a transformation that they felt?
Yes. Okay. So one client comes to mind specifically. She never had taken care of her skin. She never has worn any makeup, lipstick, nothing. And so we met together individually. We did what we call a split face. I'll just do everything, cleanse the entire face, and do everything on one side of the face, and you can see a drastic change in your skin, how it looks. And she was amazed at that. So we in turn did their entire face and gave her a little what we call dash out the door. It is a quick 8 to 10 minute makeup where she do lip gloss, one eyeshadow, and a little mascara, and she lit up like a light bulb. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I never thought I can be that pretty." Although it wasn't all
Mm.
the makeup, it was the confidence. Her skin felt better. She felt better that she was taking care of herself. She was pampering herself. She took some time for herself. She has a family, and she just added just a little color. But she also, and what I love about what we do is I teach you how to do it yourself. So when she went to work the next day, she just did her skincare that morning as well. She applied the lip gloss, one little eyeshadow, mascara, and everybody asked her, "Oh my God, you look amazing. What are you doing? What did you do to your skin? You have on makeup?" So she was, I mean, she called me and said she got so many compliments. But she's not a big makeup girl, but her skin just started glowing and people noticed it.
Yeah, that is amazing. And you said something that is so true, that it wasn't the makeup, it was the confidence. And that is so true. When you feel good about yourself, you carry yourself differently, and people gravitate towards that. They can sense confidence, and confidence is an attractive, sexy thing. As long as you don't take it too far and become
Yes.
overconfident where you start to get arrogant or controlling, like we talked about earlier. But someone who is sure of themselves attracts other people, because people want to know, what is it about you? Why are you so secure and so sure of who you are? So I love that. I'm sure there are lots of stories like that, time permitting, you would be able to share with us. And I think that whole idea of doing a split face is a good idea too, because if somebody is not sure that there's going to be a tremendous difference, then yeah, let them see the before and after at the same time, and they can make up their own opinion about it. So that's a really good thing. And it's so important to feel attractive. It
Mhm.
takes it to a different level. And we're going to talk about that. I want you to hang around after the
Okay.
break. Come back
Okay.
and continue talking to us. So it's time goes quickly. It's time for my last and final break of the night. So go do whatever needs to be done and be sure to come right back. This is Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing and my guest, Andrea Young, and we'll be right back.
Looking for a cost-effective way to help increase your company's bottom line? Look no further than Soul Pit Media. With our award-winning print, internet, podcast, and Soul Pit television options, we can help your business get to that next level. For more information, contact Craig Dawson at 412-407-7685. That's 412-407-7685. And let Soul Pit Media take you to that next level.
Business owners thinking about back-to-school promotions and replacing summer flavors with pumpkin? What about your taxes? Reduce your stress and tax liabilities by planning for tax time now with Cameron Professional Services Group. CPSG takes your goals, values, and visions to create a custom tax plan catered specifically to your business. We work closely with you to ensure that as your business grows and goals shift, so will your custom plan. Located in the Hill District in Pittsburgh, PA, CPSG is a CPA and consultant firm, providing services in accounting, auditing, tax planning and preparation, community development, and operational management. Call Cameron Professional Services Group today at 412-251-0607.
Have you had the Beat by Niche experience? Beat by Niche is one of the top makeup artists in the city of Pittsburgh. She's touched the face of Cardi B, Love and Hip Hop personalities, and various Steeler wives. If you have not sat in her chair, what are you waiting for? Visit beatbyniche.com to schedule your special makeover for all occasions, weddings, graduations, proms, photo ops, and more. Visit beatbyniche.com and experience the touch of excellence.
Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing on Pittsburgh's DSEN. If you're just joining us, first of all, where have you been? You should have been here since 8 o'clock. But if you're just joining us, in my first hour, we spoke with Michale, who is the founder of Color Me Woman. And we talked a lot about confidence and how it compares and contrasts to being controlling or being arrogant. And while that was focused on the internal, I also wanted to bring someone on who could talk to us about the external, because I know that when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, it makes such a difference in how you carry yourself, even how you conduct yourself on the phone. You know, if you're working from home and you're doing business, if you've got a positive outlook and you've dressed up a little bit, you know, be business casual, comb your hair, spray on a little smell good. It helps you because you feel more confident, and that confidence comes through even on the phone. So I do have Andrea Young helping me tonight talk a little bit about that. And so, Andrea, I'm interested in, since you come from a speech pathology background, what led you to start your career as an independent skincare and beauty consultant?
Because I've always loved skincare. Even as a little girl, I've always loved skincare and makeup. So it was just in me. And I started it initially to make a little extra money. Never thought I would stay with the business. But I knew it was a well-known skincare company. just going to try it, test it out. Didn't think I was going to be with it long, and just fell in love with the philosophy of the company.
Okay, very good. And so, I recognize that self-care, which includes skincare, is maintenance. There's some people who think of it as vanity. There's some people who say that putting on makeup or spending a lot of time worried about how you look is just being vain. What do you say to somebody who might have that opinion?
I don't think it's vain. I think you're taking the time to give yourself self-love, self-confidence. It builds you. It all comes to that feeling worthy that you deserve it. And sometimes we don't feel like we deserve it. So what's wrong with taking a little time out just to pamper yourself a little bit? And it's not all about the makeup. And with my business, we enhance your beauty. And the thing is that we just use tools to enhance the beauty and the confidence you have inside already. You just haven't brought that out. And I know some people do think it's vain. I don't have to wear that makeup, but it's okay. Everybody's different. That's why I tell people it's okay. But what I tell people, although you might not like makeup and you think makeup is vain, always take care of your skin. Your skin is the largest organ of your body, and people judge us.
Yeah,
Someone meets you, when you walk in a room, they're judging you. I know subconsciously they're judging you, but they're judging you. And so when you
absolutely.
walk in, when you walk in, I want you to walk in with confidence, self-worth, and to let them know, yeah, I belong in this room. And when you feel good,
Absolutely.
and when you feel good and you look good, you walk taller, you smile more, you engage more with people, and they can, you just have the more confidence. But personally, it depends on what the people believe is vain. That's what they believe. You can't change their mind, but it's not vain. I think
I agree
everybody
with
needs
you
self.
100%. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
100%. I think it's maintenance. And people have different levels of what they might do, but I think the foundation, like you said, is skincare, because you can't put makeup on over bad skin and think that it's going to look good. But if you have good skin, you can enhance it with makeup, or you can just let your good skin shine through. It's like that required upkeep. To me, it's almost like, if you have a car, the car needs regular oil changes to run
Yes.
smoothly. You have to wash the car. People spend, sometimes if they're really into their vehicle, they'll spend hours, hours having a car detailed. This to me is similar. You know that the car runs better with basic maintenance, so do people. So in addition to making sure that we get sleep and enough healthy food and healthy water and taking breaks and things to prevent burnout and illness, it's important that we do take care of our skin, that we do take care of our image and what we project, because in many instances you are your brand. Regardless, you don't
Yes.
have to work for yourself. Whatever it is that you do, you're your brand, and you need to keep that brand looking good. So as I mentioned before, when you are taking care of yourself, it helps you feel good, and it keeps your mind and your body functioning at their best. And that should be considered a necessary step, because it's necessary to keep that car or that machine running. It's necessary to keep your body running as well. So I know that in your business, many times people will come together and do home parties and things along those lines. Now, aside from what people might say about the business aspect of it, bringing people together, what are some of the benefits of women being together in a room and exploring with skincare and fragrances and makeup all together? What does that do to help someone's confidence?
Well, just being together with your friends, your girlfriends, just hanging out with women and complimenting each other and just having a good time. You're relaxing. You don't have the kids could be around, but this is your time that you are taking time just to let's do something together as girlfriends. Let's laugh. Let's learn something new. Let's try something new. Let's do something a little different. So you get your girlfriends together around the table. Everybody's enjoying, everybody's complimenting each other, everybody's giving their opinion, and you just letting your hair down, but you also taking care of yourself. And so that's the beauty of it. Your girlfriends, you're hanging out with your girlfriends, you're spending a little time together, but you're doing it as in a group setting, and everybody's enjoying it. There's a lot of times you have something to eat. So you're just hanging out with your friends, but you're also doing something for yourself. And then at the end, I would just say, okay, um, Let's look at Andrea. How does she look? And they'll give a compliment. Oh, okay. Let's look at Dr. Linda. How does she look? Oh, and we just compliment each other. And that boosts your confidence. That boosts your self-worth as well, because now you're being validated by your girlfriends.
That's beautiful. And especially nowadays when we're working more remotely, we're not necessarily out mixing and mingling with people as much, to set aside some time like that that accomplishes a number of different things. Because I've been to some of those parties, and like you said, it's a time to maybe eat and have refreshments with people, to laugh and joke with people, play some games, try on different things. In many ways, it brings out the little girl in you again, that little girl who's playing with the makeup and stuff. And so just the camaraderie and the fellowship is a good thing. And it's a good excuse to bring some girls together and have a good time. But I do like the fact that, like you said, it boosts your confidence. And that's what tonight's conversation has been all about, because confidence is so important to relationships. So it's not just that you want to look good to attract someone. Think about married couples. Think about this. If one of you works outside of the home all day, at the end of a long day, you've been in traffic, you've been dealing with people and attitudes, you've been dealing with deadlines, and on and on and on. When you walk in, it's good to walk into a house that looks good and to a partner that looks good. It just does something to your mood. If you were to walk into your home, which should be your sanctuary, and the house is a mess and your partner's broke down, it's like, okay, more, more just adds on to the stress and the pressure. But if you come in and everything is in place and looking good, it does help you to feel good. And the same thing for the person who is working from home. I work from home, and unless I am out at a client location to deliver a training or a keynote or something along those lines, I do the majority of my work from home. I have to be mindful of not just being in PJs all day, especially during COVID. It was so tempting not to get dressed, especially if you didn't have to be on camera. Why bother, was sort of the attitude, but it really can bring your mood down. You feel more confident when you know that you look good. And many days, like I said, I will even spray on a little cologne. Now, there's nobody in here but me, but why shouldn't I smell good for me? Why shouldn't I take the time? Because it does. It builds that image. You have to see yourself a certain way. And so if you want to get to that next level, you need to see yourself there. So you need to associate with people on that level. You need to dress for that level. You need to style your hair and develop an image for that level. Because like I said, you are your brand. And even if you're working in a corporate environment, if you're looking to elevate in that environment, people need to look at you and see success. They need to see success. And let's face it, when your skin is glowing, your hair is done, you've got makeup to enhance you, you look like success. Like I'll compliment you tonight. I'm just home. I got on my t-shirt, but you look good. You look good. And so taking the time to put on a little makeup, fix up a little bit, it says wonders. And like you said, when you feel good, it helps you smile more, and it brings out more of someone's personality. So I am all for people using everything that God gave you. It's not just what's going on inside of you, but enhance the things on the outside. We don't have a problem taking care of other organs. And to your point, the skin is the largest organ in the human body. We don't always think of it as an organ just because it has a different look than, say, a heart or a kidney. But yeah, we have to take care of that organ just like we take care of everything else. So I'm intrigued. I want to take you back to, you talked about a 5 to 7 minute regimen that you do in the morning and in the evening. What's included in that regimen? If I were to start doing that, what would you have me do?
Okay. One of the sets is called the miracle set. You have a cleanser. You do a cleanser in the morning and night. Well, let me take it morning. You do a cleanser. You're going to do your moisturizer and your day cream. 3 steps in the morning, 3 steps at night. Now you can add an eye cream if that's what you choose. So your eyes and hands are your first signs of aging. So you got to take
Mm.
care of those. At night, you will come home, you do a cleanser, nighttime recovery, and a moisturizer. Now, that's one of the steps. We call that step the miracle step. We call it the young and tender, but it's for anyone ages 17 all the way up to 100. The other one
Wow.
is called the other one is called time wise repair. We call it the young and we call it the grown and sexy. So that was 4 steps. Okay. You do a foaming cleanser, you're going to do your daytime cream. You're going to excuse me, foaming cleanser. I'm sorry. Your lifting serum. Remember the one that keeps everything tight and right. You do that. Then your day cream, and then you're going to do your eye cream. Okay.
Okay.
So at night you would do this. You would do the same thing. You would do a cleanser. You're going to do your lifting serum, your night cream, and your eye cream. So it takes 5 to 7 minutes. And what I recommend for my clients is if you're a shower girl, put your cleanser in the shower and put everything else at the sink near your toothbrush. And that's all I think. And once you get in the habit of that, and when you do building self-love and self-confidence, you're developing daily habits. So once you
Mhm.
get that daily habit, it's going to be second nature to you.
I like that idea of putting the cleanser in the shower and the other things by a toothbrush because you're not going to forget to brush your teeth. So if it's
Yes.
right there by a toothbrush, it does remind you because I know at different times when I've tried different regimens for my skin, sometimes I would forget or sometimes I'd be too tired. One of the things that I had to think about, I'm a late night person. And sometimes by the time I go upstairs, I am tired. I don't feel like doing that. But I know that if once I'm in for the night, if I
Mhm.
don't wait until the last minute, after you have finished dinner, whatever snack you're going to have, and you know that you're not going back out, you're not eating and drinking anymore, that's a good time to go and
Yes.
take care of those kinds of things so that when you do get tired, you're able to just get right between the sheets and you don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, any shortcuts I think are good because people are busy. People are busy and people don't want to spend a lot of time and money on anything. And unfortunately, we tend to be the last thing that we spend time and money on. We'll take care of other people, we take care of the house, we do what we have to do for our jobs. And unfortunately, we are usually the one who gets neglected. And then we wonder why our confidence is off, we wonder why. So I'm going to bring us back full circle and remind people some things about confidence and how to maintain it. But before I do that, I want you to give out your information, whatever you don't mind sharing, and just tell people how they can contact you. So if they have more questions about skincare or ways to enhance their look for themselves and for their significant others, or maybe they're interested in hosting one of the home parties, because I know you can do them virtually as well. So they
Yes.
don't even have to be in Atlanta. They can be anywhere and you can do a virtual one. And in fact, they don't even have to bring people into their home if they don't want to. Everybody can be virtual. And how good is that to be in the comfort of your own home doing certain things? So just tell people how to get in touch with you.
Okay. You can get in touch with me with my website, which is www.marykay.com/Andrea Young. And also on Instagram, it's Andrea Young 2277. On TikTok, it's Andrea Young 550. So those are the ways you can get in touch with me. Also, if you want to email me, you can email me as well. It is Andrea Y 864@gmail.com. And I do virtual appointments and in person as well. And I ship all over the United States.
All right. Tell us your email one more time. That way, if they forget all the others, they know I can email her and find out. Give us your email again.
Okay, Andrea, ANDREAY 864@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrea. So hang in there with me. I want to give people some reminders of some of the things that we talked about tonight, some pointers. And then I will at the end ask you whatever your last nuggets are that you want to drop on people, things you want them to remember. So going back to the conversation about confidence, sometimes when someone is overly confident, it's a mask to hide their insecurities. We don't want you to hide. We don't want you to hide yourself, not inside or outside. One of the reasons why you take care of your skin and you maybe enhance with makeup is because you know it's good and you want to make it look even better. You should not use it to try to compensate for things that you feel you don't have, or instead of working on the inside, just work on the outside and think that that's enough. That's going to be shallow and it's not going to last. So overconfidence sometimes serves as a defense mechanism. Sometimes people who really don't know their worth or their abilities, they become very vocal and overly try to convince themselves and other people of their greatness. And by thinking perfection and setting down feedback, they desperately protect their fragile self-image from being challenged. So the mask of overconfidence has underlying insecurity. There's several distinct behaviors that go along with it. But again, I want you to remember that sometimes people who are masking the inside will misuse things like makeup to mask the outside. It is to enhance, it's to remain healthy, because you don't want to come across as trying to trap someone by looks or something along those lines. The confidence is what gets them. But if people, as I mentioned earlier, if they have the need to always be right, or if they're putting other people down, rejecting constructive criticism, or overcompensating in the conversation, those are folks that are insecure in some ways, and so they're overly confident trying to compensate for it. You don't always have to be the loudest one in the room and the one who dominates the conversation. You want to come into the room and you want to be noticed, but you want it to be natural. You want it to be natural. It should be about pleasing you and not about pleasing other people. And all of that goes into this whole conversation around confidence. So learning to care less about judgment and caring more about yourself, it allows you to build stronger, more honest relationships. And one way to do that is by identifying your standards. We talked about that earlier in the, calling it boundaries. We talked about setting boundaries, but even identifying your standards with respect to attracting people. Both men and women are visual. We're both visual. I was speaking to a friend earlier today, and it's so funny, Andrea. She was telling me about a man that her sister and brother-in-law hooked her up with. And she liked everything about him. The one thing that she noticed, and this is outside of your area to help, but the one thing she noticed was his teeth. And she said the teeth were kind of yellow, they look good. And she said, but that can be fixed. I'm going to try to get over that, And so we all have something that either attracts us or deters us from being drawn to someone. And it's not just the men who are visual, it's the women as well. So definitely identify what your standards are and be true to them. A well-groomed man, oh my gosh, women will fall for you all the time. If you look good and you smell good, that will cover up a lot of other things. Something else that people need to do is practice being vulnerable. One of the good things about the parties that you do is you're vulnerable. You have women who maybe wear makeup all the time. You've got them taking everything off and you're looking at their bare skin. They are becoming very vulnerable in the room because they're allowing you to see who they are. So then when you can enhance it and they get all of that back and more, that must be a magnificent feeling. Magnificent feeling. Another thing is to recognize honest appreciation, to know the difference between when somebody is really complimenting you and feeling good about the way you look, or when they're just saying things that they think you want to hear. So yes, we're not trying to make you shallow, because we don't think skincare and makeup is shallow. We're not trying to make you shallow. We just want to know that you need to take care of the whole person. You need to be confident and secure in yourself on the inside as well as on the outside. So Andrea, let me ask you, what are some upcoming things that you might have going on that our listeners can participate in?
I have a amazing hostess program that I'm doing. I know it's only 10 days left in July, but it's an amazing hosted program that I'm doing that you can get on with your girlfriends. I also give you two amazing gifts. That's being a hostess. You get a spa roll-up bag of roller bag full of spa products with the sponges and all. And you also get $100 in free Mary Kay for hosting your virtual event with me. And then the grand prize is one lucky winner will be drawn to earn a Blackstone grill. That's the one lucky one. So if you participate with us and you meet the qualifications as with your party, one lucky person name will be drawn in August, and they're going to get the Blackstone grill. And if you're not a grill girl or you don't like that, guess what? You can take the cash.
Oh,
So I
that's
have
really
something for
good.
yes, yes. So that's what I'm excited about my hostess plan. I love spoiling my hostesses and making them feel beautiful and giving them a lot of good stuff that for them to use for bringing me together with some of their girlfriends.
I love it.
So,
Okay, so next I want you to give us some really good nuggets for women and then some good nuggets for men. Tell us some quick things that you want us to remember as we think about self-care, taking care of our skin, being attractive on the outside, because again, we're talking about healthy relationships, and all of this goes into being attracted to someone and remaining attractive. I tell people all the time that whatever you did to get your partner, you need to keep doing to
yes,
keep your partner.
yes.
So how do we do that? Let's give some tips to women and then some tips to men.
Some tips is, your hair is fly, your skin is glowing, you're smelling good, your confidence, you are taking care of yourself. And most people know it when you walk in a room. So just taking care of yourself, making sure your hair looks good. And sometimes you have different colors that look way better on you than other colors. So I would rock those colors more often. And believe in yourself. And I say self-love and self-care would take you a long way, and it'll attract people to you because you're going to be confident, you're going to stand taller, you're going to smile more, and you're going to feel good about yourself. So, and those are some of the things. Now with Mary Kay, it's not about covering up anything, it's about enhancing. And that's what we really want to focus on. Now with the guys, I love it, a well-groomed guy. I love to see him smell good. I think we talked about that earlier. Healthy looking skin. And I just love when a man shows pride in his appearance. And that also is confidence in him. So those are some nuggets that you can that men and women can do. But I think starting with self-love, self-care, taking care of your skin, that's the first step, taking care of yourself. Like eating better, drinking more water, staying more healthy, exercising a little bit. Those things are nuggets that I think everybody can use. So those are some nuggets for me.
I agree. And those are good nuggets. Those are things that are easy. It's an easy lift for us to do, and it goes a long way. And I particularly love the fact that, you didn't just talk about skincare or products. You talked about things that we can do in general that will help us to look better and feel better. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me tonight and educating us a little bit on how we can help work on our confidence from the outside. Tell people again how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, you can get in touch. I'm gonna give you my email again. I'm gonna go slow. So my email is AndreaY864 Gmail. I'm gonna spell it. It's AndreaY864 You can also reach me with my website. It's www.maryk.com/Andrea Young. And if you want to contact me on Instagram, okay, it is Andrea Young 2277. TikTok is Andrea Young 550.
All right. So they have no excuse. They know how to reach
No
you. And thank
excuse.
you. Thank you so much for being here. And good luck with your July promotion. So we've come to the end of our time. And tonight we learned that confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about knowing who you are. And healthy relationships are built on trust and respect and self-awareness. So when we lack confidence, sometimes we try to control. And when we become arrogant, we stop listening. But when we are assured in who we are, we create space for others to thrive alongside us. So my hope for you is that you learned something tonight that will help you develop confidence, whether it's from the inside or from the outside. And I want to thank you all for listening, whether you have listened live or you're listening to the recording. We are glad that you're with us here on Pittsburgh's DSCN. And before I leave you, let me just tell you what's going on. So I need you to catch Soul Takes tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. Kevin Cameron will give you a live Pirates update from Yankee Stadium as they play the Yankees. In fact, Kevin's in New York to cover the game now. And then the fellas will grade the Steelers wide receivers going into training camp, which starts next week. Also, they'll talk golf, WNBA, NBA as the LeBron James watch continues. People still trying to guess where he's going. And now, after my show, hang around and listen to the best of soulful music on our radio stream, and it's going to run from 10 until midnight. Also, I would ask you go to YouTube, become a subscriber, go to the website pghdsen.com, again pghdsen, and follow us there because you will keep updated on all of our 24/7 programming. So it has been my pleasure to do another Monday night relationship conversations with you. And in the meantime, keep learning, keep growing, keep loving. One love.
You've been listening to Relationship Conversations with Dr. Linda Bing. Continue to listen to Pittsburgh's DSEN. We're on 24/7. See our radio schedule for programming details, and please remember to subscribe to receive updated information.